So a few years ago, I was up late at night listening, as I always am, to NPR, and I heard a program that asked various people to answer this specific question: what is the most beautiful sound in the world? The answers were fascinating, diverse, and often unexpected. So this morning, instead of a sermon, I've asked 3 members of the congregation to join me in reflecting briefly on this question. And we'll do so while in musical conversation with our special guests, Sen Cal Brass. So I ask, what is the most beautiful sound in the world?
Good morning and buenos dias. I'm Kim and my pronouns are she, her, and I serve gratefully on the worship arts service. I'm a massage therapist and a mom. I want to preface this. And the sound of sleep is the sweetest symphony that I could ever hear. And it happens in 2 completely but equally beautiful ways in my world. First, it happens at home with my children, Tesla and Clem. Every night, once teeth are brushed and they're tucked into their bed, we engage in our own nightly ritual. We do a quick meditation or a deep, deliberate breath. In a world that moves so fast, this is literally where we catch our breath and build a shared respect for resting. As we breathe, there is a subtle shift that takes place in the room. One I can always feel much more than I can hear. The chattering, the giggling, the storytelling slowly fades away into stillness. Tesla grows quiet. Clem slackens in her usual spot tucked onto my left arm. And the room transforms into a place where their consciousness gently drifts into dreaming. In the exact moment, I'm always faced with a choice. I can either stay right there or join them in the much-needed surrender, or stealthily sneak out and tackle a never-ending to-do laundry list of things. 95% of the time, I stay. But then there's a second group of people, the people who bring that beautiful sound into my life, my clients, assuming, of course, that their central nervous system will allow them to actually rest. Together, we collectively decide to set our worries down, to release our physical tension, drop our expectations, and call our focus back from the outside world to return it to ourselves. During these moments, I usually find myself calling upon an unseen force, whether you want to call it your highest self or the source, to help us deepen our time together. My goal is to gain something that's truly restorative as they slacken their involuntary tension that we're all carrying, and fully open up to recover something physical, mental, and spiritual. Now, when we think of a peaceful room, we often think of absolute silence, but the truth of the human body is that true relaxation is never quiet. When we finally release the weight of the world, our bodies speak candid, earthly language. There's a deep authenticity in the sound of the body that's truly letting go. It's a sudden soft whistle of an involuntary snore, or it's the heavy rhythmic sigh that drops the shoulders an inch lower. And it's even the occasional unfiltered grumble of digestion, or the sudden puff of passing air from the abdomen that's completely uncoiled. In a polite world, we might blush at these things, but in the sanctuary of the deep rest, this awkward noise that is actually the truest sign of peace. They are the sound of the subconscious mind saying, I'm safe enough here to let go of my posture, my feelings, my filters, and my guard. Whether it's with my children, drifting off to dream in the comfort of my arms, or my guests consciously choosing to surrender their daily stress under my care, it reminds me that no matter how chaotic the day is or how endless the chores might seem, There's always profound power in creating space for people you love to feel safe enough to simply close their eyes and breathe.
Good morning. My name is Nicholas. Being part of a symphonic orchestra playing the violin introduced me to what I believe is the most beautiful sound. It was not just the sound of one instrument, but the sound of musicians working together as one. Every player had a different role, a different page of music, and a different part to contribute. Alone, each part sounded incomplete, but together they created something powerful. There is something special about sitting on stage surrounded by music. Every sound blends together into one unified piece of art. What makes this sound so beautiful is not just how it is heard, but how it is felt. When you're inside the orchestra, you experience the music differently. You feel the vibrations of the instruments around you and the motion behind every note. You become connected to the people beside you without saying a single word. This music communicates something deeper than conversation ever could. What amazed me most was realizing that the beauty could not truly be understood by simply reading the sheet music. On paper, it is only notes. But when real people bring those notes to life, it transforms into something amazing. The sound of an orchestra is beautiful because it represents unity. Many different individuals come together, trust each other, and create something that none of them could create alone. To me, that unity is the most beautiful sound in the world.
Do you hear that? That's one of my favorite sounds. Silence. Not the silence at home where you may hear the refrigerator humming, or cars driving by, or your neighbor's dog barking, or your cat purring in your ear. The silence I enjoy is that most quiet silence you might hear when you're out in the forest or in a meadow, where the only sounds might be an insect buzzing by your head or a bird in the distance calling to its flock, or the soft sound of an animal walking by. It's not pure silence, is it? Instead, it's the silence created by nature, far away from the hustle and bustle of daily life, where alarms sound reminders of meetings, where cell phones ring their alerts of messages received and people calling. This natural, uncivilized silence is my favorite sound. While in it, I can hear myself think, uninterrupted. Do you hear that?
In the silence of the night, I sometimes hear the most beautiful sound in the world. I awake in the dark, and to the left of my bed, where he sleeps on an oversized, overstuffed pillow, I hear my dog, Grayson, quietly snoring as he sleeps. Grayson was born in the house of a dog hoarder. He was kept in a cage in the dark in a room full of cages filled with frightened dogs. For the first 2 years of his life, Grayson was never touched by a human being. Grayson and the other dogs were discovered when the hoarder's house caught on fire. The first time Grayson was taken out of his cage, the first time that he was ever touched, was when a fireman reached in, grabbed him, and carried him into the night filled with fire trucks and sirens blaring. For the first week at the animal shelter, every time someone went to pick him up, Grayson would shriek in terror. He didn't know what human touch was. When I first met him at the shelter, Grayson made no sound at all. By then, he was used to being touched, but beyond that, it was an overwhelming world. The volunteer brought him to me on a leash outside in the courtyard, and Grayson sat there, head down, silent, just shaking for 30 minutes. The next day, Grayson sat there on our second visit, shaking, silent, but he raised his head and looked at me. The next day, I brought him home. That night, he sat on a pillow for the first time in his life. As he sank into that softness, I heard him sigh. It took weeks for his world to expand into something not to fear, but to explore. We had 4.5 good barking-filled years before Grayson got sick. There were many times when I didn't think he was going to make it. It was that bad. But because of a devoted team of veterinarians and amazing vet techs and enough good meds to fill a pharmacy, Grayson is still here. In the silence of the night, I sometimes hear the most beautiful sound in the world. It's a sound that is precious because it so easily could not be here at all. It's the sound of Grayson quietly snoring as he sleeps.